I'm very, very honoured to be able to bring a very, very special person onto the show this afternoon as our first guest on In the Bottle. And thank you for the team here at Studio 24/7 for making it happen. Guys, without further ado, let me introduce to you one of my good friends and amazing owner of an amazing winery, Massimo Sensi. Hey, ciao Massimo.
Hi, Angelica, and good
Say hello to everyone out
afternoon to
there.
you and to all Australian followers and wine amateur in Australia. I'm very, very, very proud to be your guest today, and you look great. You're the best wine anchor woman in Australia, and probably elsewhere.
Oh,
So
you're too kind. You're too kind. Well, thank you
you're
so much.
doing
I know how
really
busy
well.
you are. I know how busy you are, so I appreciate you taking time
Well,
out today. Massimo, before we start trying some of the
it's a
wine,
pleasure.
yeah, all good. Before we start trying some of the wine, I just have one, really quick question for you. Sensi's been around your fourth generation now, and you've had so much success. What do you think is the secret to that success?
Well, that's a good question. Our family started to work in the wine in 1890. So my grandfather, long time ago, over under 30 years ago, started to work in the wine. And for all this time, we all maintain his teaching of honesty, of working hard, developing new things, and we build our reputation in wine and in relationship that I think it's on the base of our success.
Yeah, actually, you just said something there. You mentioned something about like growing and creating new things. Like, what's the inspiration or the motivation, I guess, to keep innovating and growing at the moment?
Well, the basic input, Angelica, is from our followers, from our consumers, that they express their, that they like our wines, and they give us input to develop new things. We work every day on new wines. We like to discover new grapes and new winemaking technique. So, it's important for us to look beyond and to look to the future, because the wine business has a great potential development in the future. We're just at the beginning, we think,
Just the
and that's
beginning.
why we put in a lot of efforts.
I love that. You always have this startup mentality, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, that's good. The startup
I love
mentality
it.
is fine.
Even though you're amazing big business, you still think like a startup. It's awesome. So we're gonna have a look at some
Well,
wines together, which is exciting. We're gonna go. We're
okay,
gonna
thank
start
you.
with the. We're actually gonna start with the Ninfato. Ignore me. We're gonna start with the organic, sulfite-free range that you do, which is ridiculously popular here in Australia. What was the inspiration behind doing organics and sulfite-free wines?
Well, sulfite-free has been one of the first challenges for us. It's important to say that there are a lot of consumers that are allergic to sulfites. So for us, it was important to check out how to reduce this impact on the drinkers. And we developed this technique of winemaking at very low temperature. So from the harvest till the fermentation and even the bottling, we keep the temperature very low. And we selected the best Sangiovese, because Ninfato is 100% Sangiovese. We selected the best Sangiovese, the more healthy grapes in our vineyards. And the results is, I think, a very fruity wine, because when a wine is with low sulfites, besides the good effect on the health, you also have explosion of fruits, because sulfites normally delay this. And so you have an explosion of fruits that makes the wine very soft and very drinkable.
You're very right with the explosion of fruit. Like, it just pops out of the glass. It's very aromatic for a Sangiovese. Very aromatic.
Yeah, and the surprise is that this wine that is without sulfites also has a good aging. So if you taste the previous years, you find that there's been an evolution body evolution is very balanced, and the wine is still very drinkable and very, has a less fruit than the fresh one, but still very good. And that's important. Consistency in wine is fundamental.
I have to say, we have had, like, since this vintage came, in the last probably 2 months, 3 months, the amount of people buying the Ninfato has been crazy, and I haven't tasted it yet. I hadn't tasted the new vintage, and just on the nose, it's so attractive. All those beautiful cherry characters that you expect, but lots of like black fruit as well. I'm excited. I want to give it a little try. I haven't had taste yet. What you tell the viewers at home? What should we expect on the palate for this wine?
Well, on the palate, you can expect, softness, and then the wine has an immediate attach to the tongue, which is immediately the sense of fruit, a lot of fruits, black fruits, and it's one of the cases where Sangiovese, which is normally a wine which is not really concentrated because it's more famous for acidity and fruitiness, there you have a real big concentration because of the selection and because also of the fact that we produce with a winemaking technique at low temperature, so the taste and the smell is really, maintained at its top.
It is delicious. Wow, it's really, really good. I haven't tried, to those people at home, I haven't tried this vintage yet because a lot of the stuff that arrives into Australia just goes straight back out. Like, we sell it so quickly, it's ridiculous. But you do get all those you do get all that tannin, you get the acid, but it's so well balanced with the complexity of fruit. There is so much fruit to this wine. I can understand why the Australian market just goes crazy for it. Absolutely delicious wine. Good work. You keep doing that, Massimo. You keep making
the balance is fundamental because when you drink wine, you have to feel a balance in it's a first impression of quality.
But it's also the finish. Like, I can taste it almost a minute after trying it. It's really, really well done. And it's very small yield, isn't it, that Sangiovese? You don't make it all the time.
Yeah, we selected, we have different clones of Sangiovese, and for the Ninfato, we choose the more proper one for this style of wine, of course.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're going to have a look at one of my absolute favourite breakfast wines. I say that in jest.
Good for me, breakfast
this is my breakfast wine. So this is the Vegante, which is for obviously a vegan wine. It's organic as well. Yeah. Can you explain what the difference is in making this wine compared to, say, your Campoluce or the Sensi collection Pinot Grigio, Chianti, for instance?
Sure. The Vegante is another challenge we started because we wanted to recover the old recipe of Chianti, which is made of not only red grapes, but also white grapes. At the very origin, in the 800, in the past century, the Chianti was made of red grapes, Sangiovese and Canaiolo, but also a small percentage of white grapes. Which were the Malvasia and the Trebbiano. At that time, the Chianti style was more light, or color light in the mouth, but has a nice acidity and a nice smell. So along the years, the taste of the consumers has changed, so the white grapes have been cut away. For making a wine more concentrated. We just recovered this old recipe, which is the original one, and we made this old style wine with new winemaking technique. And we also added the fact that we made with organic grapes and under the vegan certification. That means we didn't use any animal part for the clearance of the wine, like fish gelatin, for example. That makes the wine suitable for the vegan community, of course.
So is it fined or not fined? Is this fine? Like, is it unfined?
No, it's just naturally fine.
Naturally, yeah. So for those at home that don't understand, when a wine, to make it clear, to make a wine like so it's not cloudy or anything, it goes through a filtration system, which is normally like a casein or an egg, like a fish kind of product. So the vegans do have a problem with drinking wine because of that. So that's for those people at home. So this is unfine. This is like a natural, more of a natural filtering, which is awesome. One thing you do get from the white grapes is aromatics. Again, very similar to the previous one, but
yeah, and the white grapes also add a nice smell. So the wine is very delicate compared to most of the red wine we're doing. It's less impact from body, but it's still 13.5, but as a more elegant. It's one of the red wine that I always suggest on fish, for example, which is particular. So for the acidity and for the delicate palate that it has, it's also drinkable with fish or more light meals.
One thing, for the people at home, a little bit of trivia about Massimo. You have no sense of smell, which is funny, even though he has an amazing palate. No. And I was going to say what it smells like. Say again?
Yeah, to be very, very trendy, I lost my sense when I was a kid for a virus. So I'm one of the first ones that I had this
had coronavirus.
So yeah.
Wow. No, but it's funny because you have a fantastic palate. But I was going to say on the nose, you almost get this aniseed, like you're getting this real aniseed or fennel kind of seed. Aniseed. You know aniseed. If I say aniseed, you know that. You get that on the nose, which is really, really beautiful. It's just very aromatic. You can really feel that you can smell that there are white grapes in here. But let's give it a little whirl.
Well, again, when you pour in the glass, it doesn't look a big wine, but it is not made for that. It's made to be delicate, elegant, persistent in the mouth. We put a lot of attention to the elegance of the wines. This is one of the most elegant we do.
It is super elegant, very soft tannin, very nice acid. This is definitely like when people are sitting at home on a Friday watching TV, you put on some Netflix, grab a pizza, a bottle of this. Beautiful wine, but lots of, again, what do you expect from Chianti? Lots of those beautiful cherry fruits, red fruit. But this beautiful aniseed flavor that comes through, absolutely light and delicate, not as acidic as you would expect from most Chianti. Most Chianti is like licking dirt, I always say. But it's very soft. I always call it like adult Ribena. That's how I like to explain it. That nice fruity light, chill it down if you want. Drink it all day with some prosciutto.
The best you can do to understand is to try it. But for sure, you always find in our wines elegance, enjoyability, and the taste is made to be understood. It's not complicated. I mean, maybe we make it more complicated now, describing it, but it's simpler than it is. I mean,
simple, but it's really good. Like sometimes you don't want to think about what you're drinking. You just want to drink it and enjoy it, and it really complements food. Highly recommend that. Again, a very, very popular wine here in Australia.
I always say, Angelica, that the best way to learn about wine is to drink a wine, because at the end the wine has to explain itself. I mean, we cannot explain too much. It's the wine itself that has to express itself.
Of course, absolutely. And one thing I always say with the Sensi wines is, if you want to understand Italian wine, start with the Sensi wines, because they're technically sound, absolutely perfect, not hard to understand. Awesome wine. But now it brings us to something that I absolutely love, is the Super Tuscans. And I think you do some incredible Super Tuscans. We've highlighted the Colagonzi, we've highlighted the Bulgari, we've highlighted the Gavronato on previous shows. Today I'm really excited to show the Mantello. Why are making amazing Super Tuscans so important to Sensi?
Well, Super Tuscan is not an appellation, to clear the concept, but is an IGT, so a simpler appellation that is made famous by the producer. So for this reason, we think that make a Super Tuscan like Mantello, which has been our flagship since many years, is important, because it shows that beyond the appellation, we can make very, very good IGT, for example. And then in the IGT appellation, you have the chance to mix up more grapes, to blend more grapes together, which is not allowed in the classic appellation like the DOCG. And in this particular case in Mantello, we use Sangiovese from our grapes, from our vineyards, plus Shiraz, also from our vineyards, to create this blend 70% Sangiovese and 30% Shiraz, with 12 months of French oak medium toast barrique. And again, we have a wine that has a good fruit, is a very well-bodied wine, but in the same time is a wine that maintains its fruitness along the years. So it's a wine which is good for aging and good for drinking now.
And it's really gamey on the nose. It's beautiful. And this is, it's 2013, that's why, delicious. This is a wine that you've won many awards for. Is getting awards important to you, or are you just focused on making good wine and, just if awards come, they come?
Well, the question, Angelica, because as everyone else to get awards, it's important to recognize officially our quality, but at the same time
we're losing you. The Italian
is when there's a word for us.
Sorry, go back a little bit. We lost you for a second there. So you said that you'd like to get recognized.
Awards are important.
Yeah.
Awards are important, but this award is when consumers
Okay, I think we're having a few
I receive emails from saying, I drank a bottle yesterday with my family and you made my evening. So that's the best award for me.
I 100% agree with that. It's about the general consumer rather than the big guys. When you get someone who's created a new relationship with your wine around their family, that's the perfect thing for me. I love it. Okay, so let's have a look at this wine. So 2013, so it's a bit like it's moving on in age. So I'm getting that gaminess. You're getting it from the Sangiovese, but also from the Syrah or Shiraz. Still a little bit of fruit, but more of that tobacco, leather, exactly like what we'd expect from an aged Sangiovese. It smells delicious, by the way. Nah, see, we're going to swallow that because that's...
Well, on the Mantello, you can feel in tobacco. Also, you can feel the toast of the French oak, which is always very balanced. Remember the balance is important. I mean, the wine has to be very well integrated with the wood aging. So we don't like the wines which are overtaken by the wood. We like to put a touch of wood, which makes like a little dressing on the palate.
Just a little bit, just give it a little bit of a boost. But yeah, that's what I love about it as well. It shouldn't have. I think that wines should not be overpowered with oak. I think oak is a vessel, and if we can use a little bit of oak just to enhance what's already happening, that's great. With this, guys, you're getting that tobacco, leather, the fruit. You're getting like this dried plum, dried cherry on the back of the palate. Really good with the steak. The acidity's gorgeous, and the finish, I can still taste this wine. However long it's been since I had my last sip. But this is definitely for the Australian market. Like if you're used to Australian Shiraz and you're looking at how I'm going to get into Italian wine, start with something like a Super Tuscan, in my opinion, and Massimo can probably back me up, because there's got a lot more body to them. And yeah, I just think that they're just more relatable to the Australian market when they're just getting started, Once they get used to it, they'll start drinking Chiantis and all that. But I think this is a very nice place to start if you have not tried Italian wine before. Would you agree?
It's also the best wine to understand the culture in Tuscany, because if you look at the style of the Mantello, you understand that the style of food in Tuscany is very more driven to meat, game, grilled meat. So something where the taste is quite, strong, and the Mantello with the softness it's a nice, I mean, balance in this Tuscan traditional meal.
Beautiful. No, it's gorgeous. One of my best memories of you, Massimo, was when we were in Tuscany and we had a massive bistecca at that little restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it was so good, so good.
So you
Now,
are welcome to have the second one.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Bistecca with Massimo is always the best. Does anyone out there have any questions? Because we've got one more wine to go. I just want to see if anyone has any questions. I'd love to know if COVID will impact any of 2020 Sensi vintages and have you had to adapt. So yeah, can you see how has COVID affected Sensi, Massimo? Thank you, Matthew.
Well, that's a proper question. Unfortunately, you know, the times are leaving and makes it difficult for everybody. But to be honest, on winemaking and more specifically on grapes and vineyards, there's no impact. The virus or whatever is taking is not having any impact on the plant, on the working in the vineyards. We're moving forward on our regular programs, and the only thing we expect that the season will be good, and it should be. Until now, there has not been any freeze, so we expected to have a hot summer. And thank God, I mean, the virus didn't affect till now anything about the vineyards. It will probably create some other trouble, you know, in the market because there are a lot of restaurants closed still in Italy. We just opened up, and yeah, but you know, we like to be positive, and we think that we'll cross over this.
Beautiful. Thank you. Is there any other questions out there? No, awesome. Well, I have a really quick question. Can you let us in on any secrets of what's in development for the future?
That's a good question, but I can tell you because we are good friends. We're working
This
on...
is going to no one's going to see this.
Okay. Thank you, because it's really secret. I don't want to.
I want to know the secrets. Come on. What are the secrets?
Secrets today. But anyway, any jokes apart, we work in a super white Tuscan wine. We have recovered some old white grapes. We have planted Petit Manseng, we planted Vermentino, and we have planted Malvasia. And the challenge now is to make a powerful, very suitable for long aging white wine, which is difficult because Tuscany has a very hot climate in the summer. So they hard to make a strong white wine in this climate. But we believe we can do. We have chosen a certain part of our land. We planted these 3 vineyards. 3 grapes, and we have other projects that we will reveal later on the winemaking technique. We'll work with the local winemaking university as we're doing for our main project. So yeah,
I'm excited. I want more whites. I want more whites from you. We've only got the Vernaccia, the Vermentino. We've got the Pinot Grigio, but we need more whites from you. I'm excited. Petit Manseng, it's exciting.
Yeah, and what is important is that this challenge is for the aged wine. So something that you can even keep in your cellar. That doesn't mean, again, that you cannot drink now, but you can store for a longer time. And then we're working on, we already worked, to be honest, on 2 red grapes. The Ciliegolo and Pugnitello. Ciliegolo and Pugnitello are very, very particular grapes, not common in Tuscany. But Ciliegolo is called in English cherry grape because of its cherry taste. Is something exceptional. We made already our first harvest, but we're going to release the wine next year because we want to make sure that the plant expresses its best. And Pugnitello, it has a very thick skin and has a very good character. So there are 2 new grapes, new but all very old in the same time, that you will taste soon in the next year.
I'm excited. I'm so excited to try new things, especially because, there are, 1,300 native grapes in Italy and we don't get to see them here. So I'm excited. Okay, well, do you still have
Kitchen
time to just do,
to supporting one.
do you have time to do one more wine with us? Do you have time?
It will be my
We're going to just finish.
yeah,
Speaking
for
of
sure.
wines
How
that you
can I
can
say
drink
no?
now. So speaking of wines you can drink now. You're going to drink at any time. All right. So speaking of wines you can drink now, this is a 2014 Brunello Di Montalcino. So I haven't tried this yet, which is why I wanted to bring it on the show. Because I've been having a lot of the 10s, which is like the superstar vintage, the best vintage you've ever tried. If you're looking for a Brunello, find some 2010s. Or 2000s or 2004s, but 2010s was amazing. Then we had the 12s, and we've just had the 14 land. Now, the one thing I know about Brunello Di Montalcino, the 2014 was one of the coolest and wettest vintages in Italy that they've actually seen, and particularly in the Montalcino region of Tuscany. But thanks to the expertise of most of the dedicated producers, like Sensi, there are some lovely Brunellos from this that has just been released, but you can drink them now. Yeah, so it's been linked to this vintage has been linked to the washout of 2002, with few exceptions. This 2014, what I'm expecting from this is going to be vibrancy. Compared to the 2013s are still sitting in barrel, whereas this is very vibrant. It's what I'm expecting. Anyway, we'll see when we try it. But yeah, let's have a look. Is there anything you can add to the 2014 vintage, Massimo?
To be honest, has been complicated. Has been a year where the quality has affected the year. What we did this year, we just selected, we made a smaller quantity because consistency year by year. There are some producers that they interrupt the production for the year because to record is not the year to remember, but to give consistency to our production. And we just selected the best grapes, harvested in the right moment. Of course, the quantity is very small, but I think we made we made a good product for the year. And it's important that consumers can taste even a year where the weather has affected the harvest. It's important that they understand, tasting the wines along the vintages, what has happened in the vineyards. And in the same time, the 15, which has been a better year from harvest perspective, is coming in a few months. So, you can expect different Brunello. And, Brunello appellation is really difficult in terms of understanding because there's one grape that has to express a lot of things, which is always difficult. You can blend, you can mix with any other grapes. So it's Sangiovese Grosso, straight, and you really need to make a good job to make it standing out from the crowd.
Well, it smells beautiful. It really does. It's got this real elegance on the nose. You're getting all the characters that I expect, like that. Like there's a lot of oak. There's the tobacco, that leathery characters coming through. Yeah. Look, you can't. I love that what you said. You want to express what the vineyard, what the weather did. You want to express the terroir, basically. You want to express everything that happened in the vineyard. You still want to keep the vintage, but you want to express it, and it's beautiful. I love that. Yeah, so you had the heavy rains and all that kind of stuff. You just decide to harvest less. I love that. That's really good. But let's have a little whirl of it. If anyone out there has not tried Brunello Di Montalcino, I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite things in the world, and you can really pick them up at great prices these days as well. It's really elegant, isn't it? Super chalky tannin. Yeah, great with food. But you're getting a lot, even though it's 2014, you're getting all that cherry coming through on the palate, which is really good.
Well, the Sangiovese and Montalcino is a very small hill, as many one might know. So you have a different exposure, different temperature, different soil. That's why Montalcino is very important. And there you can have also, of course, different taste of the Sangiovese. And
but all that chalk and
in
all
this
that
case,
dry tannin, like the really
Yeah.
dry tannin, lovely acid, so well integrated. How long in oak does this? How long does this have to stay in oak? Remind me.
well, the law in Italy for Brunello Di Montalcino speaks about 4 years aging, but the time that you can keep in the oak in barrel, big barrel, can be 2 years, 3 years. Is flexible, but again the time and the quality of the wood and the quality of the grapes makes the wine well made. So it's always a balance of the work that you're doing that makes a result.
I have to say, like, even though it's a 14, so I'm someone who just loves to drink wines young. I don't understand why you age them for too long. I prefer wines young because I don't know, it's like fruit, I guess.
That's a good comment.
Yeah, of course, but I just feel that 2014, it's still got cherry, like it's still got fresh cherry. So I drink this now. This is definitely a wine I would drink today. I would not age it any longer. But still, if you were to age it 5-6 years, you'd get more of that dried cherry. So it's got time, but it's got time, but it's definitely ready to drink, which is awesome for Brunello. I like that.
Well, it is after long sleeping. It's time to wake up and
Let's
being
go.
drunk. So.
I love it. After a long time of sleeping, it's time to wake up. I love it. Now, Massimo, for our viewers, I've always had the question of, can I come and visit Sensi? And I always say, no, you can't because he's too busy. Do you have a cellar door? Is there? Can people stay? Like, is there? Like, explain how you work.
Well, we are always happy that when our followers or consumers come and see us. We just set up a new location in Montalcino where people can stay and book, of course, for the right period, and they can have, they can eat there, they can swim in the swimming pool, and they can drink a good Brunello di Montalcino. So I think that it's a property that everyone who come to visit us is welcome, and will drink a good Brunello with us.
And if anyone wants to go to Fattoria di Calapiano to get married, I'm sure they can do that too, right?
Oh, we are always happy to marry people. It's our second job. It's our second job.
It's your second job. I love it. Guys, Massimo, thank you so much. This adds so much character and so much. I love seeing behind the scenes of some of these wines. And at least people know that what I'm saying is not a lie when you second everything that I say, which is great. Thank you so much. We will continue to enjoy the beautiful Sensi wines here in Australia. If anyone has any questions for Massimo, please feel free to put them into the chat box, and I'm sure he'll jump on and he will answer them for you. So thank you so much, Massimo, for joining us today. That was so much fun.